So in this video, we're going to go through trigonometry. Now, trigonometry, again, SOHCAHTOA only works for right-angled triangle. And they will always, in the exam, put this little box to tell you that these are all right-angled triangles. Now, how do you know that you need to use trigonometry and not Pythagoras' theorem? You know because in Pythagoras' theorem, you will not have an angle. But in trigonometry, an angle will be given. The first thing you need to do is to learn the SOHCAHTOA triangles. If you don't know them, you have to learn them. Otherwise, you will not be able to answer these questions correctly. So you've got SO, and I always put a little theta to remind myself that the sign has to be followed by an angle. So SO, and then K, and again I put a little theta because that represents the angle, and then TOA, and I put a little theta because this represents the angle. And the second thing you need to be able to do is you need to be able to label a right-angled triangle correctly. So if you have an angle there, the side opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, is H. So it's always the side opposite the right angle that is H. The side opposite the angle is the opposite because it's opposite the other angle that's given, not the right angle, but the other angle. The remaining angle is the adjacent, which is A. Adjacent means next to. It's next to that other angle. And I always start by labeling H, and then O, the opposite, and then the adjacent. So let's have a look. This is trigonometry to be able to find missing sides. Your step one is to label your triangle. So opposite the right angle is H. Opposite the angle is O, and this is A. My second step is to highlight, well, the two that I need. Which two sides do I need? Well, I definitely need the one that has the measurement, which is O. What's the other side I need? Well, I certainly need the side I want to find, which is A, which basically means that H is unnecessary. You can rub it off, you can leave it, but I suggest highlighting the two that you want. I want O and A. So I need to go back and look and find where is O and A. Well, O and A is here. It's TOA. So let's put my triangle there. TOA. And then I'm going to get that little hand that I've got here. So I'm going to get this one and I'm going to move it. And this hand is basically your finger. Your finger is going to cover the side that you want. You have to cover what you're trying to find. And you are trying to find A. So you're going to cover side A with your finger. And what can you see in front of you? You always read from the top. You see opposite. And this little line is a fraction. Opposite divided by tan theta, tan angle. So there we go. 10 divided by, you can write it as a fraction or you can write it as a division, it doesn't matter. 10 divided by tan 35. Now let's see the calculator. So 10 divided by tan, and it opens the bracket for you, 35, and you have to close the brackets. Then you press equals. Most of these questions will ask you to give your answer to 3 significant figures. The first significant figure is 1, the second significant figure is 4, the third significant figure is 2, and I look at the 8 and it tells me to round the 2 up. So my final answer is going to be 14.3. So x is 14.3 centimeters. Right, well, I'm going to look at the second triangle, and my first step always is to label. So the one opposite the right angle is H. The one opposite the angle 40 is opposite the angle 40, which means that the remaining side is the adjacent, it's A. Then I have to look and see which two sides do I need. Well, I definitely need the one that has the measurement, which is O, and I definitely need the one I want to find, which is H, which means that I don't need A. So I now need to find a triangle with H and O. Well, which one is that? H and O, H and O. Well, that is the first one. So let's write it here. My triangle. So, and I put the little theta to remind myself whenever I write sine, the bracket will open on your calculator and you have to put the angle in. And then I'm going to get my hand again. Let's see. I think I've just moved the A. Let's try and move the hand. Yay. So if we move this, all moves together. How lovely. That's it. And let's move the hand. And we get the little hand and we say, well, I want to find x. X is actually the hypotenuse, which is h. So I'm going to cover h. And I'm going to read. If I cover h, I'm going to read from the top. And again, it says this is O, the opposite, divided by sine theta, by sine angle. So that's 8 divided by sine 40. And I get my calculator and I type it in. 8, and I can actually put it as a fraction if I want. 8 divided by sine 40, and you have to close brackets. And again, they'll want it to 3 significant figures. First significant figure is 1, second is 2, third is 4, and I look at the second 4, it means I don't round up, so the number is 12.4 centimeters, again to 3 significant figures. And my last triangle, I start with labeling it. You've got opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, opposite the angle 70 is opposite, and then the final one is adjacent. And then we work out which two we want. Now we need H, which is the side we have measurements for, and of course we need to have the side we want, which is A. So I want A and H, and I do not need the O. Which one has A and H? You've probably guessed it. The one that has A and H is cos, the K. So this is what I'm going to write here. K, and I'm going to put the theta. And I get my hand, and I'm going to cover the side I want. And the side I want is A. So I'm covering the A, and I read it all in one line. And in one line, that means they're next to each other, it's a multiplication. So you've got cos, open brackets, that's where the angle goes, and close brackets, times, you have to close the bracket after the angle, times 6. And again, we get our calculator. Cos 70, close brackets, times 6. And we're going to want it to 3 significant figures again. So the first significant figure is 2. The second significant figure is 1. The third significant figure is 5. And we look at the 2, it doesn't round up. So our side x is 2.05 centimeters.